Hey guys, this is James. Welcome to my video. Today is July 3rd, 2016, and my name is James Paul Jakubczyk. I did a video before this one right here, and this video was about my first experience that was very interesting what I had. And this is the second part, and this is something here I want to explain here. Is a concept, a theory, how that works, or what is this all about? Because I think, it is important that also people, there has to be people, let's say, there has to be people like me and others, they have to investigate all those things in a psychological way, in a science, in a science, in a science field, in the physics, in the physiology, in the, what happens between the human and the things he's interacting with, because there must be observers who watch all this and see these things, and they have to examine it, investigate it, and point those things out. Because if we just go run down, slide down the slope without any cautions, without any rules or observations that are important, then it's really like, it's nonsense. So I hope there are people like me out there that are really observing those things and examining these things. And it's not a bad thing, it's not a negative thing. It's just like what happens while a human being is interacting with a smartphone, or what happens with the human being when he's interacting with a tablet, or what happens with the human being when he's interacting with the computer and stuff like that. What I'm interested in is in the psychological field. What happens to the mind, the thought, the behavior of a human being while he's doing that? I know all the other things, like everything runs faster, it's more comfortable, it's more faster, it's just more handy. I know all that, and that's all the beautiful, the good things. And I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about what happens by interacting with the smartphone, with the tablet, with the notebook, with the laptop, whatever, with the computer. What really goes on in your consciousness, while you're doing this, while you're operating? What happens with your thought? Because as we all know, our brain is a very intelligent machine. It's a very intelligent machine. It's really enormous how fast it learns, how fast it adapts, how fast it applies and stuff like that. Very important to know. So I prepared here something, right? So let's start with here. We have this smartphone or a tablet, but most of it, I would say, we have a smartphone. That's what mostly everyone has. And we use the smartphone by swiping with the thumb, or we tap on icons, etc. And by that, we're interacting with softwares like social media, mostly Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, emails, everything. So we do all those actions by swiping with the finger, tapping on those icons, and then we do virtual interactions on the smartphone. What I really want to point out, that everything, all the decisions, when you interact on your smartphone, swiping, I like it, I don't like it, thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe. These are all virtual interaction. That's very important to hold on that. These are virtual interactions. And by virtual interactions, I mean, if you sit in a room, right, and you do all those actions on your smartphone, I like that, I don't like that, I write an opinion about that article, a smiley, angry. But what the interactions happens all virtual, because in the room where you are sitting, when you're doing those virtual interactions, which comes out of your decisions, that's another very, very, very important word, decisions, and I will come to that a little bit later on. So when you do those virtual interactions on your smartphone, you still sit on your chair in that room. So all those actions didn't happen right around you. You don't see the actions right in your physical around, like right next to you, right here. All those virtual interactions happens in the smartphone, on the screen. So the actions really doesn't take place. The interaction is virtual. That is a very important thing to understand, that all your interactions you do with your smartphones, either on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, writing emails, social media, and all that. All your decisions, which I will come later on, it's a very, very interesting and a very main factor how our thought operates. All the decisions are an interaction in the momentum, in the moment. And you do those interactions by like, don't like, thumbs up, thumbs down, smiley, angry, opinion, etc. You do everything virtual. That means you're sitting on your bed at home, you do all those actions, but nothing happens while you're sitting here in your sleeping room, right? In your sleeping room, you still sit on your sleeping room. So all those actions taking place virtual, very important. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is your thought is looking on a screen and it makes decisions, right? And what I figured out is that decisions are something interesting happens in your consciousness when you make decisions. I don't know what it is definitely, but I will come to it. It's more, I'm going to investigate it. The decision is what is like, decision is like you created another momentum. Decision is like decision is like this. Let me draw a visual. A decision is like this. Decision, time goes by. Decision, times go by. Decision, times go by. Decision. So all those decisions you made is a momentum in the timeline. Meaning your thought captures this as a very important action and keeps it as a memory because you decided to do these interactions. Now, the thing is, everything, don't forget, takes place virtual. That means that all the virtual interaction takes place in this device. These actions doesn't happen in your sleeping room. You still sit in your bed and nothing moved around, nothing happens in your room when you made those decisions and those interactions on the social media, etc. So everything happens virtual on this device. Now the question is, where does the real interaction, where does the action takes place? Because it is first the decision, then comes the action. But where does the action takes place? The action takes place of another person who have triggered out a question or have created a situation and the action. So it's not, now it's very let me jump from here to here. Now, what if all people here, these are all people, humans, They all have a smartphone, and they all create those virtual interactions on the smartphone, like, don't like, thumbs up, thumbs down, smileys, opinions, etc. But everything takes place virtual. Very important. You can sit on your bed in your sleeping room. You do all those interactions, but your sleeping room looks still the same. There's no action actually going on. The real action is going on only virtual. And as I said, your brain and your thought is a very intelligent machine. It learns fast, adapts fast, and it applies fast. So I think that the brain is focused now very extreme on those screens. What you do when you decide, when you interact with those screens. So all those screens, all the decisions, all your actions, what you think is a real action took only place virtual in each one of us, right? And all those virtual decisions are connected. So if you watch my first video, this is what it looks like that it looks like, I know it sounds a little bit strange, but it looks like that our thought is going into the device, so to speak. That because the thing is this: what you see is what you get. This is a very important quote. What I think it's really it is really like this: what you see is what you get. That means all the interactions you do, what your eyes see, it takes it for real. It wants to go into it. You become that. So I think what happens is that the thought process, let me explain it in the other way. Let's say, let's go back 70 years ago, 70 years or 50 years, 60 years. The smartphone didn't exist. The tablet didn't exist. The laptop, the notebook, the computers didn't exist. So what you have done is you spend all the time outside in the nature, in the mountains, in the hills, hanging out with friends, etc. And was everything free to go. You just did pure actions, which means your thought actually wasn't that so much. Your thought was not challenged so much, because when you do something, you do it and you don't think. Now, when you go to bed and sleep and dream, you mostly sleep about those events you have done with your friends outside in a mountain, etc. Now 70 years add-on, which means in the present day, all our actions takes place virtual most of the time. That means our thought is challenged extremely, so through virtual interactions, and your physical, which means your whole body, actually doesn't act. It's just the thought process, and the thought is virtual. So thought is virtual. Thought is virtual, and it's very important that don't forget that all your interactions you do on your smartphone, tablet, etc. are all virtual interactions. Because the reason why I say that, because all the actions you do on your smartphone, on your tablet, notebook, computer, when you sit on a chair, everything is still the same, even when you did all those interactions. So the actions takes place virtual, what you have triggered out, not in the reality. And what happens is that all people throughout the world interacting virtual, doing virtual interactions, and all those actions takes place virtual. So it's a cloud. It's kind of like a cloud that operates between those virtual interactions. But in real life, in the real world, you're still the same. But what happens here is that the thought is, because when you sit and you think about something, you cannot touch the thought. You cannot grasp it. You cannot grab on it. You cannot. A thought is virtual. It's not. It's invisible. It's just floating around. It's just. It's living in a. It's going from momentum to momentum, from momentum for momentum. So when you make a decision, you created a momentum. And this is what the thought or your mind is capturing. So it's very important to understand that. And I will do a third part, but this is important that you understand that all your interactions on your smartphone, tablet, etc., the action itself, the virtual action, the decision takes place virtual. It takes in a virtual place. And all the actions takes place in the virtual cloud. It's very important to understand that. All right, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Bye.